Mic check. Fish Fry Friday, mic check. It's just a mic check. Talking about a mic check. We got fish swimming. We got the aquatic life swimming. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? What's up, developers? This is RealToughCandy coming to you live from the bottom of the beautiful briny sea for another Friday Fish Fry. For software developers, it's a freestyle live stream. We talk about the code. There is no preset topic. It's just anything. Anything goes related to the codes. Let's check out who all is here. Paradoodly, what's up, Richard Bagshaw? How's it going? Thank you for joining me tonight on this wonderful Friday. We got any Discord people in the chat? Let's hear you. Discord, stand up. Donovan, hi. Donovan got some major kudos yesterday from a person on Twitter, just randomly tweeted me and said, thank you so much for featuring that video with Donovan. I was like, no problem, dude. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you haven't checked that out, that is one of my more popular videos I've done in the last couple months, and with good reason. So basically, Donovan is a developer, a fellow Midwesterner, no less. And we were just talking about code for like an hour, hour and a half, what he does, his coding journey. We talked about the LAMP stack. We talked about just different jobs he's had. Paradoodly do, if you're able to, pop that link for people who are curious about that. I really enjoy lives with other people talking about what they do, because it just makes things more interesting. So that's the Donovan I'm talking about in the chat right now. Hi. Also too, I dressed up for this live stream. I don't know if you can see this, but these are my carnival fish earrings. I haven't worn them for quite some time, but I think this is a good live stream to start doing that, to really immerse myself in the theme. Somebody also asked if this was a real aquarium. It's someone's aquarium, it's not mine though. There is no way I could handle one of these big aquariums. Like, people who do that, those huge aquarium keeping activities, they have my respect, because I don't know if I could. That's a big responsibility, taking care of those big aquariums. Anyway, let's go to the comments and see who else is here. What's up, Sarah? Sarah is our wonderful mod over on the Discord. She's also modding in the live stream today, doing a great job. What's up, Sarah? Adam, Daniel, hey, Daniel Fazal. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I always am so bad with that. Fazal, he's one of our newest supporters on patreon.com/RealToughCandy. And Code Dragon, make the interviewer the interviewee. Mosamet, what's up? Adam, Cosmos Key, hello to everyone. Okay, so speaking of new patrons, so we'll have a new patron right in the chat. April was a banner month for memberships on patreon.com for RealToughCandy. We have 3 spanking new members: Sin, C-Y-N, again, sorry if I mispronounced that, Daniel, and Mark. So welcome to all 3 of you. And I've never done a roll call of all my patrons. So right here, right now, let me take a moment to just sound off and do a roll call for everyone who has contributed and is currently contributing to RealToughCandy. What do these people do? Well, aside from donating their hard-earned money to RealToughCandy, they make these videos possible. They also help me buy this thing. This was the camera I used for yesterday's video. It was my debut video using this camera. Some people even commented like, oh, new camera? Heck yeah, it's a new camera. This is the Canon EOS 800D with the 50mm lens. Absolutely love it. So it had its maiden voyage yesterday in the video called The Cranky Programmer. These patrons made it possible. People like Chiquito, who donate through PayPal, made that possible, and my YouTube channel members, many of which are also patrons. So let's go through the list. Alex C, Andrew, Candace, Code Runner, Sin, Daniel, GTD, Ian Bayless, Gene K, Jerry, Jim T, Joshua V, Janos, what's up Janos, Kevin P, Mark, Matthew M, Randy M, Ruben E, Sammy T. Sammy, I know you're here somewhere. I know you. I saw you in the Discord earlier, Sammy. Don't be bashful. I know you're here somewhere. Sherry B, Tasha, Vlaslo, and Walter. Great group of people just making the platform so much better with their support. They also get a bunch of cool perks. So thank you all for doing what you do. I really appreciate it. Other announcements, and then we'll get to talking about the code, but this is something I do need to talk about because it's important to my life and maybe other people's. You ever meet those people who make a song out of everything? I'm sometimes that person. Basically, I have decided after months of deliberation and planning, it's happening. The RealToughCandy learning platform. I'm looking for a beta release sometime in July. It's going to be open to a select group of people. They're going to be the founding members of the platform with their memberships. It's a membership site, video-based with other resources. And the goal is to help people level up, land a job, and get a raise. So all of the courses there, all of the material there, everything we do there targets one or more of those objectives. And I'm currently working on courses. I'm currently working on the site. I'm currently working with the organization. So excited, developers. It's gonna be awesome. There's not much more I can explain to you at this point. If you have specific questions, I may be able to answer them, but I don't want to give away too much too early. So just keep in mind, you're going to be hearing more about the RealToughCandy learning platform in the coming weeks and months. So again, soft launch for founding members, mid-July maybe late July, but July for sure. And then we're just going to keep rolling out from there. And there's going to be continuous updates. We're going to have, so this is the other thing I want to mention too, because a lot of people have enrolled in Freelance Newbie and how to get a job in web development on Udemy, right? Those are my 2 courses on Udemy. Those courses are going to be 86th, completely boop, boop, swept off Udemy on June 1st, next month. If you're currently enrolled, you will still have lifetime access until Udemy goes belly up. If they go belly up, but you will not be able to enroll in those courses after June 1st. So if you're thinking about enrolling, now might be the time, or you can wait until the platform goes live. So what I'm doing, I'm pulling those courses off, no longer available for new enrollments. I'm gonna be updating both of those courses with fresh material, extra modules, additional information, and additional challenges for students, because we're really gonna do it up. We're really gonna go all out with this platform. These courses on Udemy are already top rated. They're gonna be even better because I have more control on my platform. And it's gonna be developers first. So freaking stoked for it. And again, going back to the patrons, their contributions makes this possible. They make this stuff possible. So shout out to you all. Okay, let's go to the chat. Richard says, are you really at the bottom of the ocean? Richard, yes. Yes, I am. Wouldn't that be, that would be really funny if I actually was, and it was a complete publicity stunt, and I just like, you didn't see me talk for a few minutes, you're like, oh my God, she really was at the bottom of the ocean and now she's no longer with us. That could be really entertaining, but not for me. Jovan, what's going on? John B, TJ, hello, hello. Rahul, Dev, what's up? Wildflower, hi, I like your username. Oh, the flowers are in bloom in my area right now, and it smells so awesome. I love spring. Lurker in the Discord, Richard B, Ayo. Sarah says, are you also doing an update to the books? No updates on the books planned yet. That is a good idea though, and I do have a pen here. That is something I'm going to be looking into, because actually it's something I haven't even really thought of. Maybe like an update for 2020 or update for 2021 for both of those books. Yeah, by the way, developers, I have 4 books right now on Amazon. Freelance Newbie, why not? Let's just get them out. Freelance Newbie, workbook size for your convenience. We got Freelance Newbie. We've got my new book, Real Tough Software. This chronicles my learning journey, how I got a job in web development, what I do nowadays, and how I did it. Also a lot of fun, dysfunctional enterprise stories. Real Tough Software. What else? What else? What else? We also have, I don't even know if I have my other books in here, honestly. I also have 2 books not shown here. Tiny YouTube, if you're trying to start a YouTube channel, how to get your first 10,000 subscribers or so. Step-by-step instructions for starting a YouTube channel, and how to get a job in web development. So lots going on at RealToughCandy headquarters. Enough about me. Let's talk about you developers. What did you developers think about yesterday's video? I had about I have over 40 comments on that video. It was so great to see, because I posed the question, what grinds your gears as a developer? I got some great responses to that. And I was talking about, if you didn't see that video, paradoodly do, not to flood the comment section with my own links and stuff, but if you didn't check out yesterday's video, essentially it was just a 5-minute quick video with me monologuing about things that I don't really care for. And I was kind of assessing whether or not it was because I'm just, I'm used to doing it one way, or I genuinely have concerns about certain technologies. And the example I used was CSS and JavaScript. We have these libraries like Emotion, which is strictly for CSS inside JavaScript. And to me, doing things, we have our separation of concerns, we have our HTML here, we have our, everything is just, it's columnar, columnar, it's columnized, cauterized, just kidding. It's separated. We got our HTML here, we got our CSS here, we got our JavaScript here. It looks good, it works well. Why did we get rid of that? Oh yeah, components. So basically, that's my interior struggle as a developer right now, accepting different ways of doing things while maintaining a healthy skepticism. I am a fangirl for a few technologies, but I also know maybe that's not exactly the best policy to adopt when I'm working on a project. I need to be more objective. But that's kind of getting off topic. Let's see. Dang, the chat is lit. Welcome, developers. Come on, developers. 27 in here, 5 thumbs up. Smash a like. Do a developer a favor. Smash that like button if you are tuning into today's fish fry. Do it for the fish. Have you reviewed Colts and Grider's JavaScript from noob to expert course, says John B. Let's see. I may have, you know what? I have. I started a site last year called UdemyReview.com. My work there has since ceased because I am cutting ties with Udemy. There's no bad blood or anything. I just don't like the platform. So it's hard for me to write about it. It's hard for me to do these 2,000 word reviews on a platform where I'm just like not feeling it, But when I was feeling it, I did review a lot of Grider's courses and Cold's courses. I may have done the JavaScript one. I honestly don't remember. I was writing a lot of reviews last year on Udemy courses on that site. So what I can say about Grider is he has a clinical approach. And if you like no nonsense, Grider is going to be your guy. However, if you're looking for a little more personable, it's a little more, what should be the word? A lighter approach. Check out Colt Steele as far as his teaching style. If you're more, are you cat meme or are you GraphQL for life? Like pick your path, pick your adventure, because the cat meme path is Colt, and then the GraphQL for life is more Grider's speed. I also find it interesting that Stephen Grider, his intros are of him as like an animatronic character. Does anyone really know what he looks like? I find that fascinating. I think I've seen 1 or 2 pictures of him, so I do know what he looks like, but not like, nothing more than 1 or 2 still, like just frames from video or from whatever camera from how many years ago, I don't know. He's an international man of mystery. He's like the technical Austin Powers, or the JavaScript Austin Powers. No one really knows. But he really does a good job at explaining React concepts. I know this is not what you asked at all, but I have taken a lot of his courses for review purposes. There's a free segment of him explaining, I think it's React. He's either explaining hooks or Redux. It might be Redux that he explains, and it's free on YouTube. And if you're wondering how Redux works, ugh, I hate speaking without being informed or remembering what I'm talking about. I think it's Redux. He does a really good job of it. Let's see. John B says they teamed up for a course. Okay. Okay, then in that case, I did not review that one, John B. Sorry about that. I have not seen that course. I have seen it. I've heard of it in the Discord, but I have not reviewed it and I've not taken it. If anyone else has, let me know. Let me know what you think. Cole teaches the JavaScript and Grider does the projects. Interesting. Jovan says, I like Grider's diagrams a lot. They make everything very clear. This is true. This is true. What's up, Jeff? How's it going? Just going over the comments here. John B says, I waited all week for this. Spoiled with those daily live streams last week. Yeah, Jeff. I mean, John, we were rocking those live streams. We talked about, when I went to the live streams, we had set topics, and that was fun because it's not so gobbledygook when it's like a Fish Fry Friday, which I love, don't get me wrong. But for most of the live streams we were doing, there were set topics. And so we really got deep into whatever. We were talking about code editors for an hour and a half. We were talking about, are people hiring in the COVID era? Oops, I said it. Are our employers still hiring? Yes, they are indeed. I was talking to a Twitter engineer the other week. He said, yeah, we're still hiring. Come on over, submit those applications. Lots of tech companies and even people in my immediate circle, they're interviewing for tech jobs, but they're doing it remotely. So, you know, don't lose hope, even though it is kind of depressing right now with all these people. J. Cruz says, read ducks. Sarah says, way to go with 30,000 subs on YouTube. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, it was really exciting hitting 30K. According to Social Blade, I get about 100. I've been getting like 100 subscribers a day these past couple of days, but that's not what YouTube is telling me. So I'm really not sure like what my actual count is. Do I trust YouTube or I trust Social Blade? I don't know. Either way, I hit 30K, and that's a huge milestone. And doing more videos where we focus on pre-recorded videos are gonna tend to be the ones that bring more subscribers to the channel. So that's one reason for focusing on pre-recorded videos, but also too, they increase, not a lot of people want to hang out with me for an hour and a half. So people who are here, you guys are awesome because we are a certain breed of people who want to talk about code even after we've coded all day or just want to hang out. I think the bigger point I'm getting at is that mixing the Fish Fry Fridays with pre-recorded material is something I wanted to be doing because the live streams let me talk with people one-on-one or one-to-many in real time. Whereas the pre-recorded videos, I do interact with people, but those are in the comments and I usually don't get to all the comments just because I get so many. And the live chat really lets me connect with the viewers. K2020, what's going on? I'm learning React for the third time. I think I'll just stick to learning JavaScript. Yeah, that's what you gotta do. I made the mistake, and I think most self-taught developers do this. So the typical developer learning path, HTML and CSS, we get that, right? Like every aspiring developer knows you should probably start with HTML and CSS, at least if you're going for web development. Okay, that sounds great. And then go to JavaScript. Okay, great. You start doing JavaScript, what happens? It gets boring really quickly, or you don't get it, or some of these things are just so, you just don't see the practicality. But then what comes dangling along and just like a hula girl on top of your car, just enticing you, frameworks like Vue, React, Angular, Svelte, all of these things. Like, come on, let's go have some fun. Let's live it up. Let's learn a framework. And so what happens? Why would you stick around with something boring when something exciting is right here at right available to you for free instantaneously? Of course, you're gonna go play with React and try and learn that. But it's really hard. And it's really hard to do that when you're kind of shaky on JavaScript, you end up coding yourself into a corner more often than not. And for the first few days, you're like, okay, hooks, I kind of get that. The context API, okay, I can work with that. Components, okay, the history of React, I can understand that. Facebook and their ads team, I get that. But once you start really getting into it and building a project, you're like, what am I typing? What am I typing? And then you go to you end up copying and pasting a lot of code, and then you code yourself into a corner. It happens to almost every developer, self-taught developer I know. It's happened to me countless times. I mean, I've had to start JavaScript over when I was learning, my first year, I started JavaScript multiple times. And I was always just like, this is boring. Like, I'm trying to think of like some super dry JavaScript concepts. Currying, bind, like anonymous functions, immediately invoke function expressions. Some of these more intermediate concepts to advanced concepts, the execution stack. I mean, it's cool stuff. But compared to something like React, it just seems a little dry. And unfortunately, we have to learn a lot of the dry stuff in JavaScript, especially ES6 stuff with, you name it, arrow functions, whatever. There's so much, constant let, there's so many other ES6 things. Actually, ES6 has a lot of cool stuff, so maybe I should renege on that statement. ES6 for me is really interesting, but by the way, I'm drinking a LaCroix. I was gonna say LaCroix. The person at the grocery store called it LaCroix one time. I'm like, that's really funny. I think I'll call it LaCroix. I'm a hipster. I don't want to be, but legit LaCroix is where it's at. Like, oh, it's refreshing, it's cool, and it bubbles. I love my LaCroix. Aside from my kombucha. Let's go to the comments. Adam Poland says, what are your thoughts on ASP.NET? I will get back to that if possible. ASDFJKL, hey, welcome back. Yeah, starting programming is boring AF. It's a horrible process to get to the point where you can actually do things with code. Yeah, ASDFGK follows up with saying, it's just like learning a musical instrument, getting good at a sport, etc. No, it's true. I know. And then, so this is what's funny to me. In addition to what you said, I completely agree. But you go to like these framework sites and they have these convoluted examples of how it works. Just to, a toy application to just show you the basics with a hello world. Building hello world with React is the worst idea in the last few years. I'm trying to like reach for something super hyperbolic. So I'll just say it's a terrible idea, but they also want to show you, this is how it works at the most basic of levels. I just think it's funny. But when we do see some of these other projects exhibited on other sites, we're like, how can I get to that point? And so we drop things that are boring and want to go for the gold, but it's that foundational thing. You'll learn one way or the other. Like, it's not, sometimes people feel really bad about their lives or like, oh my gosh, I wasted 3 months, like jumping back and forth. Yeah, it wasn't the most efficient use of your time, but now you know, and you're never gonna do it again, possibly. you at least have that lesson to be like, yeah, my hand went on the burner of web development, jumping back from vanilla JS to a framework. When that comes up again, I'm not gonna do it. So it is part of your learning journey, but it's also a PIA. So yeah, man, these comments are lit. Donovan says, I love ES6. It makes JavaScript a bit easier to learn, in my opinion. Totally agree, Donovan. ES6, these are features that should have been in the first version, the first edition, if you will, of JavaScript, but they weren't because JavaScript was written in like 11 days. So right out the gate, we did have a lot of things that were incomplete or just nonsensical with JavaScript. And ES6 did help to even the playing field. We have any Python coders out there? Python is such a silky, dreamy language compared to JavaScript. And before ES6, even now with ES6, ES7, ES8, ES9, ES whatever, the ES 5000, even now, JavaScript is still, we're still working to smooth it out, to have like a good programming experience. But going, like learning Python as my second language, I'm like, wow, this is all I have to type for this to happen? Why doesn't this exist in JavaScript? Or why did it take 15 years for it to evolve? What's some other ES6, like reduce, map, what? Some of the array, the array functions I think are really useful. Let's see, Jeff Grinley, Python, month 3. Jeff, not to ask you a leading question, but do you love it or what? It's such a wonderful language. If it was more prominent in web development, I would be referencing Python much more often. Unfortunately, we just don't see the commercial application of Python in web development all that much. I think NPR's website was built with Django, which is a framework for Python. Other than that, I don't know any companies that are working with Django or something like Flask, which is a micro framework. I think that's what they call it. Micro something. I think it's micro frame. Let me just make sure. Flask. Yeah, micro framework. I was playing around with Flask a couple years ago, but unfortunately, it's just not fast enough. Also, I saw that Brad Traversy the other day dropped a tutorial on Brython. Shout out to my Discord peeps who shared that with me, because I discovered Brython a couple weeks ago and I was flipping out. Front end, okay, browser Python. It's pretty rad, developers. Don't expect it to blow up in popularity, but it was cool that Traversy gave it some love with his tutorial. Love Python. Varsa says Python is dangerous. I'm staying away. Yeah, it's like Python is like Haagen-Dazs after you've been eating or drinking spoiled milk for years. It's just like, oh, I'll never go back to Blue Bunny. My alliteration. I'll never go back to a terrible ice cream. That's how Python is. K2020 says, I'm definitely just going to focus on JavaScript. Yeah, that's unfortunately. I say unfortunately because there are so many just dry parts where you're not building projects. There's so many parts where and then that's the other thing too. Things like curry, bind, the execution stack. Day to day as a newbie, those things don't really apply to you because you're building like very simple projects. Also too, you ask yourself, this is what I asked myself anyway when I was learning that stuff, like, okay, is this actually going to apply to my job when I make a company money or when I start my own company and make money for myself? Will I actually need to know this? Like the cognitive load required for web development is insane. And that relates back to my video yesterday. One person had commented that there's just too much stuff to learn. And that person is absolutely true. I know that's not the only person who has said that, but I mean, it just illustrates there's just so much stuff. There's too much. And this is a career field where you're always going to be learning no matter what you're doing in software, desktop, mobile, IoT, whatever. You're going to be picking up new techniques and new ways of doing things, but the tempo, especially with JavaScript, is insane. So one of my contracts, I work with new JavaScript technology. You wouldn't know by how I treat JavaScript on this channel. But one of my contracts, I'm working heavily with newer JavaScript libraries and frameworks. Oh my God. I mean, like literally there are new ones coming out every week. And they're always the same freaking thing, developers. It's a variation on a theme. None of this is life-changing. None of this is like, wow, that's so, I mean, yes, I get hyped about it, but it's not like, stop everything. Another framework.js just dropped. Like, the tempo is too much. And I mean, and I get paid for it. I get paid to work on this contract. And it's just like, if that's what they want me to do, it's good money. If that's what they want me to do, then I'll do it. But it's like, man, even with like There's this thing called Snowpack. Have you guys heard of Snowpack? It's like Webpack 2.0. And it's nothing to sneeze at. But at the same time, it's like, as soon as you learn the specifics of a certain technology, it's already out of date. And that's frustrating. That leads to burnout, in my opinion. Someone made the comment too the other day on that video, yesterday's video, about my gripes with CSS and JS and stuff, that they are so glad that they're doing .NET stuff, because .NET doesn't have that problem. Mark my words, developers, Microsoft is coming for us all. They are sneaking up. They have revamped themselves. They've reinvented themselves. If they could just get rid of Windows 10 as a spyware operating system, they would be in my good graces. I would give them 2 thumbs up. But Windows 10, I am not a fan of, because of their spy devices inside the operating system. And there was something else that bothered me too. I don't remember off the top of my head, but Windows 10 was my big thing. I was like, if they could get that to the point where it is like a humane operating system and not invading on our privacy, I would be all about it, because they are really doing some great things. And they're doing great things regardless of Windows 10. I've talked about it a lot on this channel, but .NET, Blazor, people, okay? Every time, so that's what I'm talking about though. Blazor is something where I stop and I say, holy crap, that is awesome. I have not seen that in JavaScript in some years. Okay, Blazor is a Microsoft thing where you can build full stack applications in C#. Now, every time I mention Blazor, I say the same, I give you people the same spiel, because I get so hyped about it. WebAssembly, that's a related technology too. WebAssembly is coming, and that's something that makes me sit back and say, holy crap, that's going to be awesome. That's not JavaScript related either. I mean, it is JavaScript related, but not in any good way, because we're going to see these blazing fast languages decimate JavaScript as soon as we get WebAssembly online and more people turned on and tuned into it, in my opinion. So exciting. I just don't see that with JavaScript. Am I getting paid for it? Yeah. So I'm not complaining about it too much, but I'm saying from a personal developer opinion, the things that I get excited about right now, they're happening at Microsoft with Blazor. So yeah, let's go to the comments here. Paradoodly Do says Windows 10 is mad spooky. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is the funny part too. When Windows 10 first came out, people hated it. Not just for the privacy concerns, but the UI. People were like, I can't find anything on this OS. Like, how do I use this thing? It looked pretty, but people didn't like using it because it didn't make any sense from a user interface standpoint. And I think those complaints have either been muffled and muzzled or just died off or died down, because I haven't heard that complaint. I think people just really got used to it. You know, when there's a big change in anything, people are like, yeah, this sucks. But I still, like, I used Windows 10 in enterprise. We used WSL, so I had the interface of Windows 10. I thought it was pretty, but I just didn't like it. I just did not care for it. The things I wanted to find, I felt like they were hiding from me. I also don't like that I have to go online to play stupid games. Like, at least with Linux, you can play Mahjong and poker or whatever offline. I don't know, call me old school. Let's see who else in the chat. What's up, Jay Cruz? Jay Cruz, I believe you're in Bootcamp, right? How's that going? Coders, smash the like button, please, says John B. John B, I hear you on that. Welcome everyone just tuning in to the Fish Fry Friday. This is a live stream only on RealToughCandy where we talk about the code, baby. It's all about the code. The live comments are where it's at, and we are checking it out. There are a lot of new people coming in. Siddharth Kumar, what's going on? Julian Paviotti says, isn't Python prominent in backend development? It's not prominent, but it does have a presence. Mostly where you hear about it is with a framework, a backend framework called Django. Very cool. It's kind of like Vue though. Like, it's, people get hyped about it. People talk about it sometimes, but as far as the commercial adoption of Django, Not anytime soon, in my opinion. Let's see. Allison, what's going on? Allison says, I feel like most people waste a lot of time thinking that they are learning by watching video after video instead of just starting on projects. Interesting comment. True. Lee Forrest, what's up? Enrolled in CS50W this morning. Python, Django, and Flask, HTML, CSS, ES6. Ooh, congrats. That sounds fun. Good luck with that. Yeah, Django and Flask with Python, awesome. But again, the practicality in the real world, and let me be clear with that. My goal is to help people level up and land a job. And for most people who do tune in, their ultimate goal is to land a job, but other people just love to code. And other people are still exploring what they like. So just because you learn something and don't apply it to the job doesn't mean it's useless. It could come in. The bigger thing is that you're using problem-solving skills to build a project, debug a project, or make a project better. Refactor a project, for example. All these things are going to come in handy. What's up, Sipo Charles? Another newer YouTube channel member. Sipo, thanks for your support. He says, ooh, what about Brython? Is anyone using it? Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Is anyone using Brython? I was just toying around with it the other week when I discovered it. But has anyone built a project with it? Share your GitHub. GitHub sharing, welcome here. Also on the RealToughCandy Discord, we have a room for sharing your GitHub. Also for sharing your GitHub link and also for sharing projects. Projects you're working on or want some help on or just want to show them off. Check it out. Paradoodly-doo. Please, or Sarah, please pop that link for the Discord. We can get some more folks interested in this coding thing in 2020. And this is, I don't know, also, I'm curious about your guys' status with like stay-at-home orders. Are you still ordered to stay at home in your area? Because right now, I'm self-staying. I haven't had interaction with the outside world in 20 years. 2 months. Yeah, I'm doing just fine. I know in California, there is a little bit of drama because, Sarah, fill me in. So the governor closed the beaches, but people were like, we want to go to the beach. Or did he open the beaches? And they're like, you suck. Like, are you able to move freely about? Let me hear the international people too. We got a big international audience. What are your guys' statuses? Are you still working from home? Are you able to go out and about? Because honestly, in my area, it is still a serious thing, but I see things slowly getting back to normal because we have allegedly and or apparently flattened the curve. So, there's still a lot of caution, but a lot of people seem to be like slowly transitioning back to their normal routine, as normal as it can be. As for me, I'm staying right here and working on my own thing until July. I'm not going out ever again, actually. Just kidding. Just kidding, developers. Jeff Greenlee says Vegas is on stay-at-home order extended till the 15th of May. So Jeff, like, Las Vegas is completely dependent on tourist dollars. Have they completely closed like the strip? Like what? I can't imagine anyone is in a good mood in Vegas right now. Of all the cities losing revenue at a rapid pace, I would think Vegas would be number one. Sarah says some beaches were opened, but then way too many people went, so the governor closed them, and now people are protesting. Beach protesters, what? CG Educate live from Haiti. What's up? Thanks for tuning in. J. Cruz says end of February, March. Let's see. John B. still locked down. K2020 says, yeah, in Maryland, everything is pretty much closed. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it really varies, at least stateside, it really varies state to state. I know states that are, some states have never even ordered a stay at home, but people, from my understanding, for the most part, were behaving. So that's good. That's good. There are other things. There are some pictures. Oh my gosh, developers, even yesterday. Okay, so like my pet peeve. Here's a little side note, life with candy. Here's a little personal note about me. I have a pet peeve. My top pet peeve, litter bugs. Developers, I cannot stand litter. It just is so disgusting. So I was triggered yesterday walking around this beautiful park, 100-year-old trees, immaculately taken care of, gardens galore. And what do I see on the side but a freaking used blue face mask? I know people have been doing this in other cities and towns, people throwing out gloves, people throwing out face, but that is so disgusting and so ignorant. I said it. Developers, I just had to get it off my chest. I am so disgusted. What's up? The other gave the fifth. Wait, what? Gave the fifth changes his username every time he comes to a new live stream. I love it. It's always gave the fifth in some way though. He says, what? Wait, what? Going outside is overrated. I don't know. For fresh air, I mean, don't get me started. I'm one of those people who was like self-quarantining before there was even a suggestion to do it. So I'm not that deeply impacted. Daniel says, Singapore extended semi-lockdown from 4th of May to June 2nd. Holy smokes. Paradoodly do with the super chat. Adopt a highway. Doo-doo. Thank you, Paradoodly, for that super chat. Adopt a highway, no doubt. Paradoodly, do you want to go halvesies on adopting a highway? We could do these next 2 miles adopted courtesy of RTC and friends. Wouldn't that be so funny? Instead of actually learning about code, we're like poking face masks and sticking them into a trash bag. Work service. Man, I appreciate that, Paradoodly do. Hey, Midnight Sun. How do I get my wife to consider a career change in software development when she already has a computer science degree? She's not sure if her code is good enough. Ooh, that's a great question. First of all, that is great that she has a CS degree. She's already got preference. She's already got preference with many employers. A lot of employers, they're looking for that CS degree. No matter what, that's the first thing they say, okay, CS degree, okay, that's in the go pile of potential, let's call this person back. Other things equal, you have 2 candidates of the same caliber and one has a CS degree. That person with the CS degree just went like this as far as viability as a candidate. So number one, that CS degree it's proof to the employer many things. Number one, that she studied computer science principles, probably some math courses. Number 2, now this, developers, we can jump on college all we want. I do it all the time. I have more degrees than I know what to do with. But what a college degree does is it shows an employer that you have the discipline to show up to a place you usually don't want to be at for 4 years straight. That's a long time, especially in the era of staying at a company for 6 months to a year, usually a year. Showing up for 4 years to one place is a big deal. And that is just an immediate, a college degree is shorthand for that. It's shorthand for discipline, dedicated, and focused. Those are serious traits. And those are all built in to a college degree, whether it's a computer science degree or anything else. Obviously, in this case, computer science is much more applicable. But to go back to the question, how do I get my wife to consider a career change in software development when she already has a CS degree? She's not sure if her code is good enough. Well, we could attack this a few different ways. I might need to ask you a few more questions. I don't want to ask too many questions, but just off the bat, if I had to answer that question, I would say start researching the job openings in your guys' area and really see what they're looking for. Because honestly, these technologies, if your wife has a 4-year degree, she has those she has problem solving skills that she picked up. She may have had them before even getting this degree. So I would say, check out the job listings and see what technologies your companies are looking for. From there, you could go to Udemy, you could get any kind of course and learn it, because the truth is that even software developers, even we're talking about web developers, all right? So web developers, most college graduates have to go and train on their own for web development. Because what happens in a college situation is that there's a lot of red tape, and the technology in web development is changing so fast that these colleges they can't keep up. So when they do teach JavaScript, they're teaching, are they even teaching ES5? I don't know. But when they're teaching web development, so many of those technologies are out of date. There was this one course I was looking at this college, it was last year. They were emphasizing XML. This was like an intro to programming course, intro to web development course. And one of the core learning areas was XML. Now, XML is still very valid and it's everywhere, but it's just not something you want to be spending weeks of your life on, maybe a day or two. But there are far more pressing things to learn about in web development. So I would remind your wife that this is stuff, the college degree is to her benefit 100%. But all of us are going out of college, outside of the college experience, to one of these platforms to learn actual web development. Even something like Andre Negoy's course, his coding bootcamp, that could be a great course too. There are just so many other options you can take, but Andre Negoy's coding bootcamp is great. And so I would say start with that, because I can guarantee you there's not a college, at least in the States, that is teaching modern, relevant web dev skills. HTML5, forget it. CSS3, maybe, but especially when it comes to techniques and real world stuff, like building projects, colleges aren't teaching that. So check out one of those courses. Yeah, and just, I don't know, if your partner is the type of person to think it only is for a certain section or segment of people, that's a thing of the past. There are so many disciplines and so many things you can do with web development. It's crazy. Aside from that, let's go back to the question, because there really is a lot of stuff that you can talk about. She's not sure if her code is good enough. One thing she could do, now it doesn't have to be with my Discord, but have her put her code or on Discord, or not on Discord, I'm sorry, have her start a GitHub account, put that code on GitHub, and then try and find a community. It doesn't have to be RTC's community. Of course, you and your wife are totally welcome to come visit and be a part of it. I'd love to have you. Midnight, and I think you are already part of Discord, but invite her and we can go over some of that code. That's what we do in our chat room. We can go over and see, what needs improvement, what she's doing good at. Also too, this is a horrible recommendation right now, but once we're able to communicate and be in front of each other in person, start going to meetups. Because that way, as a code newbie, as a web developer newbie, with a college degree, she can meet people in the community that are doing it, that are working, that are getting paid, that are in the industry. And meetups really are just a meeting of the party faithful, and they're so people there are so friendly. Donovan, if you're still here, you can always he will always back me up on this, and I have to give him a shout out when we talk about meetups, because they're so pivotal. They're so pivotal. And in fact, I was at a live stream meetup last week, Women Who Code. That's a great organization for women. They helped me out so much in my coding journey. They helped me debug my code, helped me work on my projects. And it's actually, their virtual meetups are open to everyone. I went to one last week. It was an intro to architect, what was it called? Systems architecture or something. It was really high level, low level. It was a bunch of levels, developers. It was really good. Talking about different ways to architect your applications in your code base. It was good. But yeah, once those start opening up, go to a meetup. So Is she thinking, I'm curious, because I know there are a few couples here. Ian has a wife who is also a software developer. I always thought that was cool, like being able to have someone in your life, of your partner or your wife or your spouse, who you can talk about code with. It's awesome. So I don't know. Hopefully I wasn't rambling too much, but if she has a CS degree, she's already at an advantage. John B with the $10 super chat, my man, dropping that $10 super chat. Thanks, John B. Appreciate you. Sarah says, I've always been told that if you have a degree, it puts you ahead of another person regardless of the degree. Exactly. I mean, that's just it, because it's shorthand. Whether it's from, Corn Palace University or MIT. Now, granted, there is a difference between these two institutions, but at the very minimum, your degree from Corn Palace University tells your employer right away that you have the discipline to show up. Do you know how hard it is to retain employees? Do you know how hard it is to find an employee who's going to show up? Half of these people, when I started RealToughCandy, I never realized how many flakes there were in web development. Half of these people that I have meetings with don't show up. Half of these people, dude, I'm serious, even when there's money on the table coming out of my pocket, it's really hard to find someone who's not only just going to show up, but actually do the work. And so when you have that degree, yeah, that person immediately has the employer is associating positive things with that person. Sweetness. Donovan says, go to meetups. Thank you, Donovan. Exactly. Troy Mitchell, what's going on? Me, myself says, what area of software development do you recommend for someone who got a degree in something that is unrelated to software development many years ago? Me, myself, I would go for anything that you like. Do you like web? Do you like IoT? Do you like mobile? So I have multiple degrees, right? I got my first college degree when I was 18. I left high school when I was 16, graduated with an associate's when I was 18. And then through the course of my life, got different degrees that I do not use on a professional basis. They've helped me in other ways, especially with my research and problem solving. When I got my master's, that was really when I started honing my skills on research and developing my own research tools. But as far as a degree unrelated to programming, anything you like, because here's the thing, even though I just got done saying how great degrees are no matter what, they've also, companies like Google, Apple, and all these other ones, these big tech companies have dropped the college degree requirement. You're still going to be, just like I said about no matter what the degree is in, it shows your employer you probably are reliable, or at least reliable enough to get a 4-year degree. You just got to go with what you like. You got to go with what you like, because computers, if it's not computer science or math related, it usually isn't, it's just not applicable to most of what we do. So the bigger thing is, the most important thing is that you have projects and that you can solve problems. Tasha, what's up? I thought we would all be cute coding together when I started. Tasha says, my husband works in cybersecurity. We never talk about it. He just says, I don't know anything about web developing. His code and job is foreign to me too. That's awesome. Yeah, that's another me, myself. That could be another thing you might want to explore is information security, cybersecurity. That's something we talked about in a live stream. That's another place where you don't need a degree. As far as my knowledge goes, I mean, where do you even learn information security in a college? I can't imagine many colleges offer that degree, at least practically speaking. Do they have, there is a cybersecurity bootcamp somewhere in Colorado. There's probably a few more that popped up. But yeah, cybersecurity is a huge thing. And a lot of times, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing like ethical hacking or white hat hacking, whatever you want to call it, reverse engineering, a programming language is really good to know, like Python, especially. That's another win for Python. Python is in the information security field, because it's used so much. Let's go to the comments. Midnight Sun says, we just bought the Colt Steel course, but she does like the idea of working for herself. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the world is really open to developers, seriously developers. It's just another reason to become a developer in 2020. Not to sound like a shill, but it's a great time to be a developer, even though, yes, the world came to a complete halt. There's no denying reality. People are furloughed, people are losing jobs. There's no denying that at all. However, most of us in this industry were able to keep our jobs. My job was, I actually have more work coming my way. I have a full-time employee working for me, and I'm busy. Like, I've been super busy. I had a banner month with sales this past April, just last month. And that is something, this is a future-proof career field, in my opinion. Because why? Not because we work with JavaScript, not because we work with Python, because we're problem solvers. And problem solvers get paid. Problem solvers get paid from time immemorial, from the BC Justinian, the emperor era, the Greek and Roman gods. Problem solvers of that era got paid. In 2020, in the era of JavaScript, God knows what, problem solvers are still getting paid. So yeah, that's just another thing to keep in mind, is that not only do problem solvers get paid, our jobs are future-proof in that sense, and we can take it in whatever direction we want. Developers, I love my job, for the most part. There are some days where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. And you know what? Because I built my business the way I wanted to, after I got these skills, I'm able to take a day off whenever I want. I'm able to take a week off if I want. I'm able to go on vacation. And if I feel like working, if it just strikes me, I can work. And if I don't want to, I don't have to. No one's gonna fire me. And if I didn't have these skills, I couldn't do what I do. So it's just, I can't push it enough. I can't promote it enough. If you're thinking about making the switch, give it a shot. It may change your life in ways you never even thought possible. I love the next thing I'm gonna do in software development. I love exploring this stuff. Yes, I complain and moan about MongoDB all the time, but you know what? Compared to problems I've had in other career fields, that's a cakewalk. If that's the biggest thing I'm complaining about, I'm good. I've had jobs where I couldn't even walk out of my car because my feet hurt so much from standing on my feet. I literally had to crawl up to my porch from my car because my feet hurt so much from working at this manual labor job I was working at, because once again, I was broke. I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I'm so grateful I made this switch. For other people out there too, I know it's the same situation. There are things that are unsavory about this business, no doubt. I deal with a whole new set of bullcrap, but relative to the other jobs that I've had, dear Lord, thank you for showing me the promise and the possibilities of what tech can do for people. So yeah, stepping off soapbox in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the comments here. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. He said, hey, hi. What's up, Troy? Let's see. Me, myself says, do the same rules apply when you're in your mid-40s? As far as what, though? As far as getting employed or what? I don't know. I don't know if that question was directed to me. By the way, developers, these people who super chatted me, I get a special pop-up. So if you absolutely need me to see your message, send me a super chat. That's the only way I can see it for sure. Godson Sermont says, I'm watching you live from Haiti. Dude, that's awesome. We have a few people from Haiti in the chat today. How's it going? Web development 2020 peeps. Sarah says we need to adopt parking lots in my hood. Ugh, Sarah, if you adopted parking lots in my area, you'd be throwing things in that plastic bag you wish you would have never seen. Up to and including camp out productions, people camping out, people hanging out, people turning parking garages into party places. Like, I didn't know like section B1 of this parking garage was for a rave. Like, I mean, not gonna lie, I'd probably be there like 7 years ago, but you know, I'm different now. Tasha says he has his OSCP certificate. Very good, 6-figure job for his first job. Okay, that's a great point, Tasha. Thanks for adding that, because with these, this is the thing about these other tech fields, is that having a certificate does mean something. Whereas in web development, a Udemy certificate means nothing. You know, it's fun and it's good to feel like you made that accomplishment, but practically speaking, you're not going to get a raise. You're not going to be employed because you have that Udemy certificate or a boot camp. Even these boot camp certificates, boot camps are a little different. But as far as online learning platforms, those certificates are just, they're more for your personal benefit and feeling good about yourself rather than actually using it as a tool to stand out as a candidate or to get a raise. But there are multiple certificates in information security that are relevant. And there's one of them. We had this discussion the other week and I've already forgotten it. I think Gabe the Fifth was the one who gave me the right answer. There's one certificate that is super, is it the ISC squared or something? I don't know. But it's like a 3-day test, or like a 24-hour test. It takes forever. And most people, even like the most seasoned security experts, are like, dude, that kicked my butt. But they have those certificates. I don't know how I feel about certificates of that nature in web development, but I do know we have a standardization problem in this field. For one thing, people coding HTML and CSS are not software. They call it, I am the senior software engineer. Like, dude, I'm sorry, I respect you and I respect what you're doing, but that is not engineering. From where I come from, I have a STEM degree. I have, well, 1.5. An MPP is kind of STEMmy, not really. It's getting there, but I have 2 other STEM degrees. Okay, so I know engineers, and just this coding HTML and CSS and doing WordPress stuff, that's not engineering. Maybe I'm just being a cranky programmer and I'm hung up on semantics, but I think these definitions are important so we can start standardizing some of this stuff. Back in the day, people were engineering things, and we still do have engineers who engineer these algorithms, and usually they have PhDs. People doing engineering work at Google, a lot of them have masters and or PhDs. So that was just me getting on a side tangent about certificates. But I would like to see some of this stuff standardized in web development so we can build better code. That's just it. Anyways, side tangent. Broad Trippin', what's going on? He says, has YouTube also helped in being financially independent? Is it worth it to do? Seems like it would keep you on your feet and always learning. As far as creating content on YouTube, yes. Now, I couldn't live on YouTube ad revenue alone. I'm just not there as a channel. But as far as building an audience, absolutely. As far as sharing what I'm doing, completely. As far as building other parts of what I do as RealToughCandy, indubitably. Discord, I mean, the Discord has almost 1,000 members, and that's almost exclusively due to the stuff I do on YouTube. Now, RealToughCandy has expanded. I've been doing other stuff for a couple years. I've been building my website over and over. I've revamped that thing like 6 times, but that's been starting to, you know, sustain itself. And these things that I do, I all want them to tie back into one thing and one mission, and that is to help people level up, land a job, and get a raise. And YouTube is that centerpiece, and it's where people come to engage with me. Other than the Discord, where we do engage, we also have, you know, some really good conversations there. But YouTube is where people are like, yo, you have to check out RealToughCandy. She's a YouTuber. She's on YouTube. As far as me quitting everything and being on YouTube full time, I don't think that's something I want to do for multiple reasons. Number one, the ad revenue is way too risky, relying on one source of income. I mean, I just have the other infrastructure in my business where I'm kind of not able to do YouTube full time, even if I wanted to. So what I'm saying is I have other responsibilities that I have to take care of in order for me to get paid off of YouTube. So, but yeah, I mean, YouTube really has made a lot of those things possible because that is where most of my audience comes from. Developers, Fish Fry Fridays for software developers. Anything we talk about in here is part of the TGIF Fish Fry Friday. Sarah says, me, myself, many of us are in our 40s. I think it's totally worth it. I mean, we got to work another 25 years before we retire. Sarah, that's a great point. Yeah, even in your 40s, you're still a long way from traditional retirement. Me, myself, let me back up here. Me, myself is, yes, is the struggle to learn coding worth it when you're in your mid 40s? What are your chances of getting hired? Or do older coders do better as freelancers? That's a great question. And this is a topic that comes up fairly frequently on the channel because this channel is, the active members on this channel are very diverse. Now, the Google Analytics is one thing, this quantitative data, right? But once I start looking into it and looking at the quality of what's going on, people who engage on this channel are diverse in age. I mean, every demographic you can think of, visible and invisible. People in their 40s, 50s, 60s, some guy in his 70s is even on this channel. He's teaching himself C and C++ currently, I think. But this topic of age discrimination and having troubles getting jobs, you know, in your 40s, your 50s and beyond, it's real because age discrimination is a real thing. And it's frustrating because there's no clean solution to it. How do you fix a culture that prefers younger people? How do you fix that? How do you fit in? And it was even a question that was challenging for our guests we had on the other week, Lucen and Adam. They've been working with developers for years. They're highly competent software developers. Lucen has 2 degrees from MIT. Highly competent, highly experienced. And even that, you know, it's a tough question, especially in Silicon Valley, where people in their 20s, they're easier to manipulate. They're easier to manipulate when it comes to working more hours, when it comes to coming in to fix on something, when it comes to, you know, just going into crunch mode, working 3 weeks straight 12-hour days. People who are older aren't going to put up with that. So that's another reason, aside from the biases, that's another reason why a lot of companies are bypassing older workers, because people above a certain age, ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody's got time to work on a salary, 70, 80, 90, 100 hours a week. Look, this is a 40-hour work week. I get it. Most of us are salaried. So there are going to be times where we're coming in to fix certain things unexpectedly. But as far as getting salary based on 40 hours a week and then having to work 80 hours, people aren't going to do that. And it's easier to manipulate people who are younger and less experienced, as far as technical experience, as far as life experience and social experience. So to answer your question, here is the counterpoint. At my enterprise job, I worked with the guy. His father was born in 1899, okay? 1899, horse and buggy. His dad was born during the horse and buggy era, okay? 2 world wars. The dude I worked with was old. And the reason he was hired was because he had a skill set not many younger developers are interested in. And you know what that is? Proprietary programming languages. I worked at an IBM affiliate, an IBM partner company. So we were working with proprietary tech. Not a lot of younger people, not a lot of people who are just starting out are interested in stuff like COBOL, or, you know, COBOL was an example we used the other week because we're having this problem with unemployment, with these unemployment requests in the United States. These old mainframes with the government, these tech stacks haven't been updated in decades. But anyways, stuff like COBOL, stuff like IBM, these proprietary languages, legacy languages, that's an area where I think if you are having just so much pushback, learn how to code and then maybe learn some of that stuff. Because I'll tell you what, that employer is desperate for IBM language, IBM proprietary tech programmers, desperate, and they get paid just as well, if not better, than full stack JavaScript developers or modern web developers. Facts. This isn't, now mind you, This is not just a Midwest thing. There are IBM companies, there's proprietary tech companies scattered and littered throughout this world. So that could be an avenue if you're getting a lot of pushback. The other thing too, you had mentioned, is freelancing a better thing? You know, sometimes, if it's not something you like, if it's not for everyone, I wouldn't encourage it if you can't stand it, but it's definitely worth exploring. And being older, you know, not being in your 20s, you have a more mature, more organized, I was gonna say audience, but your network is more mature, they're making more money, and they have adult problems. Okay, those are all great reasons to start freelancing with them and finding people in your network who need web services. It's not guaranteed, but generally speaking, when your network is of the more mature set, they're making more money, they're starting their own businesses, they don't have time to even if you're building a Wix site, who cares? You're still getting paid, and sometimes that's all they need. So yeah, freelancing is something I encourage everyone to explore, no matter how old you are, but especially for people who are past, you know, age 22, it could be a really lucrative thing, and you might discover that you really love it. Good question. Paradoodly Do says, can confirm, as a manager in my 20s, I'd do 80 for 40. In my 30s, it's 80 for 80. Yeah, exactly, Paradoodly Do. She's talking about working. So when she was in her 20s, she was doing 80 hours. She was getting paid the same working 80 hours as she was with 40 hours. She's like, yeah, the company does not care if you're burnt out. They don't care if your mental health sucks. They don't care if you're having a spiritual crisis because you're working 80 hours a week at the same soul-sucking job, doing the same soul-sucking tasks. They don't care. And so it's really, I mean, it does border on abusive in some situations, in my opinion and in my experience. People's lives, I mean, their souls are ruined. You can see the emptiness in their eyes once they stuck with an employer who really treats them poorly. K2020 says, I was told by 3 boot camps that companies want more women and minorities. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that affirmative action is a topic I don't talk a lot about on this channel because it is triggering for so many people. So I'm not going to go into your comment, but it is, I mean, in the United States, this is just a fact. Okay, I'm just delivering the fact. There is this thing called affirmative action where employers prefer a certain set of employees. So take that as you will. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of immaturity and people can't have conversations on the internet anymore. Rebecca says, that's something I worry about. I'm 42 and I'm worried about losing my job and having to compete with a 20-year-old. Yeah, that's another thing. That's a great comment too, is that you do see this sometimes where companies clean house. And you know what the sick thing is? A lot of times, let's say they're getting like a severance package or something, not just fire, but they're getting that, they're being let go. A lot of time, I've seen this more than once, I've seen this happen multiple times, that the person being let go has to train their replacement in order to get that severance package. That to me is totally wrong. That to me is totally wrong. I don't care what the industry is, I don't care what country it is. That's so sleazy. Oh, so the management doesn't know how to do my job, so you're going to dangle my severance in front of me until I train my replacement because I'm too old? Like, dude, that's like, seriously, that stuff just raises my blood pressure way too much. Rebecca says, yeah, because they generally don't have families. If you're 23, you people aren't married with a couple of kids. If you're 40, more than likely you do. Yeah, and that's just it. That's like, it's also, I mean, it's a stereotype too. It's like an employer stereotype where, oh, they're in their 20s, they must not have any like serious relationships going on. But that's like an insult to people in their 20s who are mature, right? Like people, even like, some people are 18, 19 doing this stuff. 18 and 19-year-olds have lives too. It's just that, generally speaking, they don't have as much social experience as people who are older, and they're easier to manipulate. It's really skeezy. Me Myself says, thanks for the advice, I appreciate it. Yeah, good luck, Me Myself, seriously. there are people, honestly, it's tough. It is, there's no line about it. It's tough, but it can be done. You just have to, you have to plan out a strategy and don't give up. I know that sounds cheesy, but just don't give up. Jerry Barnes, what's up? Hello, am I late? Yes, Jerry, where you been? Jay Sanders. Yo, Jay Sanders, are you still on this live? Jay Sanders has this channel, right? I love his channel. He uploads lounge records, private press, lounge records from the 60s, 70s, maybe an 80s track here or there, but they're completely underground and they're usually cover songs. You know, like lounge music from the 70s where the guy in the toupee is like playing a two-tiered organ and there's like a drummer playing a somewhat of a snare. I love that kind of music so much. I love like weirdo music and indie music and records you've never heard of that are not even on the internet. I don't know how Jay Sanders gets those records. I am just so envious of these albums. And I used to deal in rare and out of print records. And that was one of my things before entering software. And I still dabble in records, just not buying and selling like I used to. I don't buy and sell anymore, but I do listen. So that is so awesome to see Jay Sanders. Yes. Thanks for joining us. Jay Sanders says, my company laid off 23 people last week. I survived this round of layoffs. My job is federally mandated, so I'm hopeful. I'm sorry to hear that, Jay Sanders. That sucks. Federally mandated, huh? Can I ask what business you're in? If you don't mind sharing. If not, I totally understand. I'm curious. Rebecca says, I think IBM recently did that. Fires a bunch of older workers and then hired younger people. It's gross. Totally. Yeah, it really is. It really is just, you know, that you guys watch that show, American Greed. I love that show. It's just like the guy who narrates it, tonight on American Greed. I can't do his voice, but it's like so engaging. And these people, as the name suggests, it's these people and these people running these companies in America that get so greedy and it bites them in the butt and they end up in jail. Like they should for destroying people's lives and livelihoods. You know, I don't know what more I can add without getting kicked off YouTube, so I'll stop there. But it is, yeah, Rebecca, I totally agree. It is gross. Rebecca says, I will say this though, I'm 42 and I don't have kids and I don't want them, but I'm still not gonna work 80 hours. I like having a life. That's just it. Exactly. Exactly. Like you don't, that's the thing. In my opinion, you don't need a reason to not want to work 80 hours when you're getting paid for 40. It's just like, that's not what I signed up for. This is my life. And, you know, if people have kids, obviously I understand that people want to spend time with their kids, but if people don't have kids, people also want to have a quality life experience. You know, it doesn't matter if where you are, how old you are, people want to have a quality life. They deserve that. The work-life balance. Oh my gosh, developers, I'm reading this book called Disrupted by Dan Lyons. He got laid off at Newsweek. This was like a decade ago. He got laid off at Newsweek, and so he took a job at HubSpot. And he writes about, it's so funny. The subtitle is like my misadventures in startup land or something. But he talks about this where people are just so brainwashed that they don't know what a work-life balance is. And HubSpot was telling them, like they were forming this company culture around the concept that, you know, there's no such thing as a work-life balance because all of your life is work. And like these NPC employees were agreeing with it. This book is really, I can only take it in small chunks because it is like, there are so many OMG moments where you're like, this really happened, didn't it? This really happened. So I read about a chapter every 2 nights. I don't try to get too crazy because there's just so much. Jay Sanders says, I'm a corrosion technician and prevent pipelines from leaking or corroding. Thank you for doing that, Jay Sanders. I was actually watching a documentary late last night on PBS about the Flint water crisis. Wow. I knew that it happened before watching the video, but the documentary was just eye-opening. Let's see, static coder, what's going on? I'm in the government as an IT project manager, working on my own projects on the side, got ideas from being on the inside, and now it's go time. Good for you, man. That's the way to do it. That's one of the ways to do it. When I was in enterprise, I mean, there are so many problems that pop up that you don't even have time to address. And even now doing my own business, like there are problems that pop up, but it's a different dynamic. I just don't have time to write them down and be like, well, you know, I should. I was getting so many ideas working for that IBM partner company as far as things that didn't exist in the real world. And yeah, I mean, all it takes is one idea to really get the ball rolling. So good for you, maximizing as an IT project manager. Let's see, looking at the comments here. This said, the sad game. I almost pronounce that as like a Greek name, like Seseda Gamagaios. The sad game says, what do you think of the wave of high school kids who are skipping college and going to schools like Flatiron for a boot camp program? Will they have a hard time acquiring lead and managerial positions? In my opinion, yes. Also, it really depends on the company though. I know when I was working for the government, i.e. in the military, it really helped to have a degree of some sort. There are plenty of competent people who didn't have a degree, but again, that degree, a true to life college degree, shows the person ahead of you, in front of you, in charge of you, that you have those soft skills we talked about earlier in the stream. And it just makes your life a little bit easier, even if you never use that degree in a professional setting. It's a credential, it's a bullet point, and it's proof, and it's shorthand for so many soft skills and hard skills, depending if it's a STEM degree or not, or yeah, tech skills. Let's see. But yeah, going to a boot camp at age 18, I went to a technical school for automotive technology, automotive tech, and there were a lot of people in their teens who really were setting themselves up for failure, because aside from that tech school, they didn't have any real world, they didn't have anything to fall back on. And so if they drop out, they're $20,000 and $30,000 in the hole, and those credits aren't transferable, because these boot camps, any of these tech schools that you see popping up or have been in business, they're not accredited, or they're otherwise, the credits you can't transfer to an actual college. So it's all for naught. It's a risky thing. I mean, if you absolutely are convinced 100%, yes, I want to go to a boot camp, I want to go to code, then, you know, teens going that route, I think is legit. I think it's valid. But I have met more than one. I've met many teenagers and young adults who made the decision to go to a tech school where you couldn't transfer credits. They drop out, or they find out they don't like it, or it's just not their thing. And then they're $30,000 in the hole, and they're not even 19 years old. It's not a good way to start your life out. There are worse things to do in life, but it's just not a good way to start. Broad Trippin says, Coding Face said in an interview once, the CEO asked very personal questions, asked if he had a family, said he didn't, was a deal breaker. Seemed like they wanted someone settled down with a family. Weird. Yeah, personal questions like that in interviews are super weird. I can see why they sometimes ask them, like some personal questions, but what does that have to do with the job or me showing up to do work? Rogue Network Engineer says, I work as a software developer for a large hotel chain. I was laid off. Luckily, I know COBOL and was able to find work. Dude, that's awesome. Are you working for the government for the unemployment stuff? Tell us. Inquiring minds want to know. Sarah says the recruiters still come to grab the misfits to go to auto trade schools. Sarah, I love it. It's so spot on. I know, it's just it's funny comment. I kind of look at boot camps like a trade school, but also having that degree is not bad. Yeah, that's a good comment too. Coding schools they're like a new school, trade school. I don't know what else I can add to that. I kind of already discussed it, but good comment. Rebecca says, I wonder if I could learn COBOL. We have a COBOL for Dummies book collecting dust. My partner took a class in COBOL back in the 90s, which is why we have it. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious about Rogue Network Engineer going rogue and starting with COBOL. Static Coder says COBOL has actually screwed over the unemployment. Talk about a comeback. Ha ha ha. Yeah, who would have thought? And this is just another example of like software. I'm not going to say coming to the rescue, and I'm not going to make, I am not a software cultist. I am completely aware of its limitations, but I'm also aware of the things that it's done for my life and the lives of millions of others. That said, you never know what kind of technology is going to sneak into your life and be relevant. Like, oh, so apparently now we are at a we desperately need COBOL engineers. Who says that? Well, apparently people who need COBOL engineers to fix unemployment. Rogue Network Engineer says, I work for New York Department of Labor for now, and I don't even live in New York. It's a temporary job, but it's a job. Rad, dude. That is so awesome. Good for you. That's a really exciting story. I mean, it sucks. Obviously, it sucks you got furloughed, I mean, laid off. But that you could go back and get something with COBOL it's really interesting. Developers, it's been an hour. That is my sign to wrap down or wrap up, just like a market, Fish Fry Friday. It's time to eat. It's time to barbecue. I'm doing a barbecue tonight. Ooh, it's grilling weather. It's really hot here today, and I don't feel it. I'm not feeling the hot weather, but the barbecue might put me where I need to be as far as mood. So I hope you're having a great night and great morning. Really had a great talk with you all today. We talked about it all. Not really, we barely scratched the surface, but you know what I mean. It's a mix, it's a grab bag, it's a melange of topics. So what else? If you're interested in continuing the conversation, check out our Discord. It is open 24/7. It is open to anyone of all abilities. Thank you for our super chatters tonight. We had 3 of them. Paradoodly-doo, pushing for that adopt a highway business. Paradoodly-doo, you got those trash grabbers? I mean, it's something to think about, something to get your name out there. Midnight Sun, good luck to you and your wife, who is perhaps considering a career change to do software development. Keep me updated on that. And also, John B with the $10 super chat. And also a special welcome to my lounge music friend, Jay Sanders. So great to see some people here that I recognize. A lot of you I recognize from other streams too. And welcome to our new subscribers. If it's your first time here, welcome. We do the fish fries every Friday. We talk about anything related to software. You never know what you're gonna get. It's a mixed bag here on the RealToughCandy channel. Now, this is on Zoom, and these signups are always really awkward, okay? Rebel Cloud, where have you been? What are you doing? This is your first time, oh my gosh. And she has the poison shroom in the icon. Yes, I'm feeling it. Yes, it's time to eat steak. It's time to eat red meat. Lovers unite. I'm out of here. Developers, take it easy. This is a Minnesota goodbye. Peace out, Garage